Creating embroidery designs on caps and hats with a single needle embroidery machine is tedious but doable. You can achieve this and more using your single needle embroidery machine. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you all the tools you need and how to achieve this. Hey lovelies, this is Annie with Annie Marie. If you're new here, you're welcome. Do well to subscribe to our channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. So here are everything that we need to embroider on this cap right here. Okay, we need our embroidery scissors, our embroidery hoop. We're going to be using the 4 inches by 4 inches. We're going to be using our self-adhesive stabilizer. Some people call it sticky stabilizer. We're going to be using the multi-thread stand, the wonder clip, and of course our embroidery machine. And the design is already inside. Okay, so let's get everything ready. Now let me tell you something. This particular method is very good for unstructured hats and caps. And by that I mean baseball caps, truckers caps, and every cap that can be flexible. Okay, all those flat brimmed caps cannot work here because it's going to be very difficult for you to embroider it on a flatbed. Okay, you can actually use cap frames, but I don't like using cap frames. Okay, with these tools right here, I can embroider on a baseball cap, any kind of cap actually. For the size of the design, the sweet spot for me is 2.5 inches by 4 inches or 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. This particular cap is trucker's cap and is made up of polyester and foam. All right, now to embroider on it, I'll be mindful of the height and the width of my design and also the beak and the placement. Okay, I'm going to be mindful of the front of the cap and make sure that everything aligns. All right, I'll also loosen the back of the cap before I can embroider on it. Okay, this is where the flat brimmed structured caps will fail you if you want to do embroidery on them, because the beak is going to be very stiff and then the back might not have this expandable band or pins that you can open up and flatten it out on your machine. And make sure that I expand the beak. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I align the design, rotate it, and make it sit properly on the front of the cap. Okay, it's not going to hit the beak, and the size is going to sit in the middle of the 4 inches by 4 inches hoop. The self-adhesive stabilizer, which is popularly known as the sticky stabilizer, has the front and the back. Okay, it has this shiny side, all right, and then this peppery side, and this is the part that will actually be under our project. Okay, so we're going to peel the shiny side to expose the adhesive. All right, this stabilizer is the best for hat to hoop items. I actually made an unboxing and demo video for it. I'm going to leave the link in the description and also as a card up here so that you can watch that video. Now let me give you a closer look to the design because we're going to be working on it now. Looking at the screen, you will see move, size, and rotate. And we need to rotate this design because of the placement of the cap. Okay, the beak of the cap will be hanging or hovering over the embroidery arm. All right, the moving part of the embroidery machine. So we need to click on 90 degrees to move it from its vertical position to horizontal position so that by the time we place the design on the cap, it's going to be right. The top of the design will be exactly where the peak or the crown of the cap is. Now we have our stabilizer, and there are 2 ways we can hoop the stabilizer. Okay, we can hoop it just as it is right now, and then we use our scissors to open up the top or the center and then place our cap, or we can completely peel it out and use the adhesive side to hold our cap. Now I'm going to be peeling it completely, and at the end of the day I'm going to be using the remaining part of it to embroider on beanies. Okay, it's not going to go to waste because this cover right here that you're seeing can be used to preserve the remaining part of it. Okay, you know I don't waste my supplies for any reason. For this project, we're going to be using the floating technique, which is very good for hard to hoop items. Okay, so I'm getting it ready. If you don't have this particular stabilizer just because you can't find it in your neighborhood or you can't afford it, you can actually use a cutaway stabilizer or a tearaway stabilizer and use adhesive sprays on it. Now, I stay away from adhesive sprays because they make a mess of somebody's hoop and also the project. But a lot of people know how to use it positively. It works out for them. But to me, I stay away from it because it can gum up needles. It can really create a mess, to be frank. Granted, everything that has adhesives can actually gum up needles, so I advise you to use anti-glue needles. Now, if you can't afford it or you can't find it in your neighborhood, you can actually use top stitching needles and then you use sewer's aid. Okay, you use the sewer's aid to rub on your needle and also your embroidery thread. It will help you to have a smooth embroidery experience. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Who loves repeated cut threads and repeated rethreading of an embroidery machine during an embroidery project? I don't know about you. So you know what's good for you. Do the right thing. Note that the brim of the hat will go over the hook, that hook that connects to the embroidery arm. Okay, the back will be completely open so that it will be free and allow you to flatten the front of the cap. Okay, now this flap right here is going to be connected and pinned down to the brim of the cap. All right, it needs to be flat and flush against it. All right, and we're going to be using wonder clips to hold it, just 2 small wonder clips at both ends of the brim is good enough. All right, I try to avoid pins while working with caps, but when it's absolutely necessary, I use pins. Now make sure you flatten the beak, all right, the very brim of the cap. It is very important. Okay, don't worry, it's going to go back to form, it's going to go back to shape when you're done embroidering. This is to keep away the beak and that flap in the inside, all right, away from your embroidery design. Okay, because if you don't do it like so, trust me, you're going to be embroidering on it and it's going to look a mess. It's not going to be fine. Now you make sure that you get it well centered. All right, I normally eyeball this, but if you have your grid, please use it. Okay, but I'm going to eyeball this and trust me, I'm going to get it. All right, this is from years of practice and all that. Okay, but as an absolute beginner, I don't advise it because this is adhesive. All right, once you keep pulling, removing, you know, keeping it back and all that, you might create a mess and you don't want that. All right, so once you place your cap, make sure to press it down, but don't cause wrinkles. Okay, make sure that it's smooth and the top of the cap that you're seeing is smooth. Okay, the fabric is not rumpled, the foam under it is not rumpled, everything is smooth, but please press down properly. Okay, now you can see my reason for removing everything and exposing all the adhesives all around. If I'm going to be embroidering on a beanie, I may just have to hoop the middle of this hoop. Trust me. Okay, I will just use a strip, you know, just a little bit of it. But because this is a cap, all right, I want everything to lay flat. You can see how beautiful this is looking. I mean, everywhere is exposed just exactly the way I want it. All right, and the beak is flat. Okay, just raise the presser foot and just slide it in gently. Put in your hoop and hook it. Okay, and you're good to go. All right, so this step is done. All right, it's time to go over and try to get our placement right because the placement really needs to be right. Okay, now I advise you to keep your embroidery design size to be within 2 inches to 4 inches. That is 2 inches height and 4 inches or 3.5 inches width, because you don't want it to hit your beak or just go beyond the cap peak. Using the icon on the machine, I'm going to check for my placement. don't ever skip this part, especially as a beginner. Even intermediate sewers and advanced embroiderers do this, okay? As a matter of fact, I normally do mine twice. Yes, I do it the first time, check my placement, if it's right, I double check. I double check. You can never be too sure, trust me, okay? So you can see I'm doing it the second time and it is well placed, okay? So I'm going to leave it at that, end my editing, and just go ahead to embroider my design, okay? Now this embroidery design has I think 6 to 7 color changes. All right, so I'm just going to start off with doing the face, and I'll do the shirt, the shoes, the trousers, and everything. Now while editing this design, the colors were actually split into two. I mean, each color was like two, but I had to join my threads. I think in one of my videos soon, I'm going to show how I edit some designs, okay? So now I have started embroidering the first color, and the first color is I think a light brown or more like a nude color, okay? So I'm using it for the face because I try as much as possible to make it close to the skin tone. Now, in a word of caution and advice, don't ever leave your machine while working on a project. If you do it, trust me, that is when all hell will decide to break loose. I mean, that is when everything will want to go wrong, okay? That is when your thread might cut, that is when the needle might break, that is when so many things will just start going wrong. I don't know why it happens, okay? Believe me, you don't want to go through that stress, okay? So the best thing for you is to stick around. Trust me, I know. Now, here is the first color stitching out exactly the way I want it to stitch out. And hey, I'm sticking around. I'm not going anywhere because I don't want stories that touch the spine, okay? So this is the color chart. You can see all the colors. The first one is the one I'm working on now, and after it, I'm going to go to the second one and the third one, and so forth, okay? So this is stitching out well, and I'm sticking around. I'm watching it like a hawk. I don't want stories that touch. So this first color is done, and I've already threaded the second color, which is blue. That's for the pants, and I'm going to start stitching on it. So I'm going to be changing all the colors off camera because I don't really want this video to be that long, okay? Besides, I mean, changing of color threads, what is there to show, right? I mean, we know it and we know how to do it. So this is the second color now, and we're almost done, okay? So the second color is done. I'm going to be switching over to the third color, and so far so good. The third color is red, and that is for the sleeves and the booties. So it's going to stitch out, and so far I've not had any mishap, okay? And now there's something I want you to see for this cap. You can see close to the beak there is a certain space. Now this is what I love doing whenever I'm working on truckers caps. As a matter of fact, I do it on baseball caps too. If I can like align it and maneuver it, okay? I would love my design to be 1 inch above the beak. All right, 1 inch above the beak. Now it depends on the kind of design I'm creating, okay? Whenever I'm doing embroidery designs like this that has a combination of an image and words, this is exactly the way I want it to be. But if I'm doing maybe a logo or word or patch, I actually like my patch to be close to the brim, okay? Probably 1/2 inch above the brim. So the kind of spacings and alignments I use for my caps depends, 1, on the kind of cap, and 2, on the type of design. This is very important when you're designing. Now another thing is color coordination. You can see that my design has primary colors, okay? And I tried as much as possible to use colors that will go well together. Now if you're a creative designer, you will understand the importance of color coordination, okay? You don't have to do some people will tell you, oh, you know, in fashion we are doing color blocking. My dear, Believe me, there are some designs you will create, okay, and even the color blocking will not look appealing. All right, try to coordinate your colors, make it look realistic. All right, now I'm doing a picture of a boy, and you can see what I'm doing. All right, basically the primary colors look good together, and it looks like something a boy can wear, right? And I look at the color of the face. Okay, I didn't use white because, let's call it spade a spade, nobody is white. All right, I mean, I don't like using white for faces. Okay, I always use this color or something lighter than it, but definitely not white. I just like having a realistic image when it comes to doing maybe a girl, a boy, or an adult kind of image. Now I'm doing the hair right now, and you can see the hair is brown. I mean, we have brown hair colors, right? You can imagine doing orange, or I've never seen anybody that has orange hair. Yeah, it's normally a wig, and it's normally tinted hair. Let's call it spade a spade, right? I know we have red hair, we have auburn, we have, there are realistic hair colors. I can do red because I know we have red heads, right? I can do brown, I can do black, just something realistic, okay? I don't like doing cartoony kind of images, especially for boys and girls. Now, if I want to do cartoon characters, I know I'm doing cartoon characters, so I can do all those stuffs. If you watched my other video on embroidering, okay, I think it's unboxing video for new broad thread repositioning hoop, I did a face, okay, and I tried to use neutral colors. Okay, so I think we're done with the embroidery right now, and it's telling us finished embroidering, so we're done, we're good to go. Okay, so we'll try and bring it out from the hoop and see what we achieved so far. But from the way it's looking, seriously, it looks really good. It looks good. All right, now this is one of the things I love about creative design, seeing the finished project. I can never get tired of being excited. Okay, trust me, it's always the same feeling, the same excitement, the same joy, and when I happen not to break a needle, when I happen not to change needles, change threads that are caught, the whole retreading process is a joy. I mean, look at this, look at this. Okay, let's remove our wonder clips. This stitched out beautifully. Okay, it really did. Okay, let's look at the back. The back is awesome. My machine tension is good. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to be trimming off, making the whole project look neat, and I will show you the end result. But first of all, let me tear it out, and you can see the excess. And if you know me, I'm very frugal with my supplies. I'm going to unhook this, and I'm going to be using that cover, the shiny cover, to store this, okay, for making my beanies. Trust me, this can do let's say 2 or 3 beanies for me. Yes, it can. It sure can. Okay, I'm going to be hooping it in the middle of the 4x4 inches hoop, and it will do the job. Learn how to maximize your supplies. Okay, all right, so let me just keep this aside and let me clean this up and show you the final look. All right, don't worry, we're not going to be disappointed. Okay, and there we have our finished project, looking beautiful. I mean, the back is now smooth. Okay, you can use something to cover the back, or you can leave it like that. I mean, who is going to see the inside of your head? All right, this looks beautiful. And there we have our beautiful embroidered trucker's cap hung on our mannequin. I mean, isn't this beautiful? Now you're convinced that you can embroider on trucker's cap, baseball caps, beautiful unstructured caps with your single needle embroidery machine. Be convinced now. All right, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts at the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Until later, as lovelies. Ciao.